Tonight, what a special night! It's the last night of the existing council, and I would encourage everybody to stay here towards the end because we got some special things to give out, and congratulate them and honor the people that were honoring the county for the last 12 years. So, but that's being said, let's go ahead and get started. Mr. Lesher is going to do the prayer for us, and let's all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag.
Provider God, we give you thanks, pausing this week on our National Day of Thanksgiving, for the multitude of blessings you have given us for life, for liberty, for health, for peace, for this beautiful land and the surrounding waters, for our free and democratic society with open and fair elections, for the opportunity to work together in Talbot County government for the betterment of your people here. We ask your protection for those who will be traveling, for food or shelter for those in want of those basic necessities, for comfort for those who will be unable to join family or friends this holiday. Now grant us wisdom as we conclude our business as this council, and bless the council that will succeed us and all those who enable and support the work of county government. We pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lesher. That was great. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get started here on the agenda tonight. We have the agenda of November 22nd before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion that we remove item number 6, the update from Talbot Humane, as Patty Crankshaw Quimby is not able to make it with us tonight.
Okay.
Second.
Madam Secretary, got a motion second?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pat?
Okay. And we want to wish Ms. Quimby the best because she hurt her knee, and we would hopefully she gets better soon. Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the minutes. The minutes before us are October 18th, the 25th of October, and the 1st of November. Council has had a few the minutes before them, before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. All right, next on the agenda here is the disbursements. We've had the disbursements of November 8th and November 15th and November 22nd. The council has had a chance to take a look at them. Are there any deletions, corrections, or additions to the disbursements?
Can we make an addition to increase money to us?
We should, yes.
If not,
Well, we
I'm
tried.
I'm good.
We tried. Okay. Yep. No. Yep. So hearing none, the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Our first proclamation tonight is on the for the Hospice Care Month. If you guys want to come on up, that'd be great. This is important to all of us, so this is a special proclamation. Welcome. How are you guys doing? Good, good. If you don't mind introducing yourself, that'd be great.
My name's Molly Kirsch. I'm the clinical director at Talbot Hospice.
Okay.
I'm Chris Chikoris, and I serve as the executive director.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I'm going to open the floor to you guys a little bit and tell us how things been going. And
Well, thank you very much for allowing us to come before the council
Yep.
this evening and for the proclamation.
yeah,
It is a privilege to do the work that we do and to care for neighbors in our community during a very difficult time in their life. So we very much appreciate the support of the council and most importantly, just the support of our community. Without their support, without your support, we could not do the work that we do. So we
Right.
greatly appreciate it.
yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Just
Okay.
to thank you all
Yeah.
and encourage everyone to please, if there's any member of the community that you feel could benefit from talking to us or seeing if there's any of our programs that could fit people in need, to encourage them to come and seek us out. Because
Mhm.
we would like to help anyone who needs our help.
That'd be great. Great, thank you. Mr. Pack? Anything?
I have-
Yeah,
I
you
have
guys?
nothing,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, okay. So, Mr. DeVillo, you want to go ahead and present the proclamation? That'd be great.
Susan Reed.
Oh, okay. Well, we better let her read it first. Yeah, we're getting too fast here. Sorry about that.
Proclamation, National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, November 2022. Whereas for more than 40 years, hospice has helped provide comfort and dignity to millions of people, allowing them to spend their final months at home surrounded by their loved ones. And as Medicare's first proven coordinated care model, hospice is a program that works, offering person-centered, compassionate care, ensuring people dignity, choice, and quality of life. And whereas the hospice model involves an interdisciplinary, team-oriented approach to treatment, including expert medical care, quality symptom control, and comprehensive pain management as a foundation of care. And whereas, beyond providing physical treatment, hospice attends to the patient's emotional, spiritual, and family needs and provides family services like respite care and bereavement counseling. And whereas palliative care delivers expertise to improve quality of life and relief from pain, can be provided at any time during an illness, and hospices are some of the best providers of community-based palliative care. And whereas a growing body of peer-reviewed research indicates that timely access to hospice and palliative care can decrease hospitalizations and emergency room visits and increase quality of life for patients and family caregivers. And whereas every year more than 1.5 million Americans living with life-limiting illness and their families receive care from the nation's hospice programs in communities throughout the United States. And whereas hospice and palliative care organizations are advocates and educators about advanced care planning that help individuals make decisions about the care they want. And whereas the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have pledged to put patients first in all of its programs, including hospice, ensuring a coordinated and patient-led approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individualized services based on a patient's unique care needs and wishes. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby proclaim November 2022 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month in Talbot County. Encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life, and to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 22nd day of November in the year of our Lord, 2022.
Okay, great. Thanks, Madam Secretary. I appreciate it. Okay, yeah.
So I'd like to thank you guys for coming in, and Megan Miller for bringing this to my attention and getting you guys on the agenda. This is obviously important to me. My stepfather passed away April 1st using Talbot Hospice Care, and I can't thank you enough for the comfort you provided him as well as my family during that time. One thing that I have some experience with palliative care, but I know the community does not. That's kind of like a new term that seems to have rolled out over the last few years that is invaluable, but many people don't understand that, as well as the aftercare that you guys provide for the counseling and things like that. Would you be able to just briefly address sort of what both of those are that you provide?
Sure. Take a shot.
Our palliative care program is for anyone who's facing a life-limiting illness that may be taking away from their quality of life. So it is for people who want to continue seeking treatment or curative care, but also could benefit from symptom management and improve their overall quality of life. It's a home-based program, so we come to you and listen to what your goals are, understand what's important to you individually, and our nurse practitioner adjusts what needs you have and works with your primary physicians. You don't have to give up any relationship you have with people you've been working with in the community for whatever illnesses you're seeking treatment for. The bereavement program, of course, offers bereavement support to families who have lost their loved ones on hospice, but also is available to anyone in the community, whether it is a sudden loss or unexpected loss, or a loss that maybe we've supported through another program that we have. It's also available to community members who have had the unfortunate loss of a child or an infant, who maybe are seeking one-on-one support or group support. So it's again tailored to the needs that the community has. And we also run a kids support group that has a summer camp that's available to anyone in the community who has a child that maybe is struggling with the loss that they've experienced. And we're working on workshops throughout the year where children can start to build a relationship with us and have an even more better experience when camp comes around in the summertime. So we're working with the schools on that as well.
And I would just add that the grief support services that Molly described are available to anyone in the community at no charge. So again, because of the philanthropic support that we receive from our community, which is just tremendous, we're able to provide those services to anyone who needs it.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Again, your work is just invaluable. And again, the palliative care, that's an important one to get the word out about, because there's additional revenue that helps to offset the other programs at hospice. So the more that people use that, the better financial support hospice is in. So, thank you.
Just thank you for the important work that you're doing. I too have had friends who have benefited from your services, and I have great appreciation for the quality of the facility, the quality of the staff, and the programming there. It's really an extraordinary asset for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Price?
I think most of us have experienced your services, and if you haven't, I mean, it's not a fun thing to go through, but once they get to that point of palliative care or hospice care, they may have been in a nursing home, and there's never enough staff someplace like that, and the family it's taken a toll on the family, because I know that when I experienced it with both my grandmother and my dad, that we felt like we needed to be there all the time. And while it's incredibly sad when you know you're going to lose that loved one, having that relief, that knowing the care that they're going to get, and it truly is a gift. The people who work for hospice, what they do, and I know I've said it probably every year we've done the hospice thing, but I'm always amazed at the heart that they have to be able to give that care and that love and attention to that individual and relieve the family of what they've been having to deal with. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Mr. Pack?
Yes, I will echo the sentiments of my colleagues that your work is invaluable here at Talbot County. What you do to provide comfort to those families and to those patients that you are under your care goes without saying. You know, I too had a loved one who had to go through hospice care some 20 years ago up in Baltimore. So, you know, the services that we got from the nursing staff and from the administration staff, answering our questions, just being there in the room with my mother before she passed, meant a lot to me and my family. So thank you for all that you're doing here in Talbot County, and may you continue and to walk in this service.
And like my colleague said, I want to thank you guys. You guys have probably touched everybody in the county, that's for sure, because somebody knows somebody that's in there or it's a family member, and we can't thank you enough. And you guys are special. That's what you have to understand. You guys are special. That's a hard job to do, and you're around a lot of people that need your care. So we really thank you a lot. So with that said, Madam Secretary, could you go, I got a motion. Mr. Pack, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion second. Could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
If you guys don't mind coming up, Mr. DeVillio is going to present you the proclamation. That'd be great. Okay, next on the agenda is the presentation of the Government Finance Officer Administrative. Yep, Martha, you want to come on up? Yep. Tell us how good you've been doing.
This is an annual award that the Government Finance Officers Association presents the act for the annual report and audit. And
Right.
I didn't have anything to do with this, but I will gladly accept it on my behalf of my excellent finance department. But I do plan on continuing the earning of this award in future years.
That's great. Madam Secretary, would you mind reading it into the record? That'd be great.
We are pleased to notify you that your annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2021 qualifies for the Government Finance Officers Association's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This certificate of achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Martha. I appreciate it. Good job. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is the presentation of a master plan of the Burton Fishing Pier. Mr. Pepper's going to run us through the plan. Right, Mr. Pepper? Sure. Okay.
He is the master.
He's smiling, too. That's what's good,
Bottom left.
you know?
Okay, so Burton master plan, this is something that we had started back in December 16th, 2020. This was an agreement between the state and the county to come up with a master plan with regards to the Burton Fishing Pier State Park. Just something to keep in mind that the pier was not part of this project. So,
And Preston, would you mind explaining to people that really aren't sure about that the old bridge has to come down? Yeah.
so I don't want to speak out of turn as
Yes,
far as the
yeah.
state goes with the pier.
Yeah.
However, what has happened is obviously the pier is closed for structural concerns, for lack of better words. I don't know what the plans are as far as moving forward with the state as far as the pier goes. My thoughts is that it's probably less expensive to replace it rather than repair it. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's the way they're going to go. Mr. Stamp and I did have an interesting phone call the other day as far as the fishing pier goes, but it's probably best. I mean, the state will be coming back in to discuss this with the next council.
That's good.
So I'm thinking that they would probably have a better idea of
Okay.
how to handle the pier with
Okay.
regard to that.
Great.
So
Is it fair to say that this is not the fishing pier discussion? This is the state park
Correct.
discussion? Okay.
Right. That's
Yeah,
why,
so
that's
like
why
I
I
s-
wanted to say. Yeah.
right, so
Yeah.
this whole agreement with the state of Maryland and Talbot County, this was just for the park that is, it shares the property with the pier. However, the pier has never been part of that agreement.
Okay. Great.
So as you can see, this is the master plan that was decided upon. We did a survey of not only Talbot County residents, some of the neighbors adjacent to the park. The state actually did a more extensive survey. They're able to reach out to the entire state through various different social media platforms that they have. So just one thing to keep in mind, a lot of the responses to theirs may not be actually coming from Talbot County residents. However, there are a lot of people that use Burton Fishing Pier State Park that are not Talbot County residents. So that's just something to keep in mind. However, there was a lot of input from the neighbors adjacent to the property. Obviously not many people that would have a property next to the park want huge amounts of change. Mr. DeVillio and I had multiple conversations with them. It's one of those things where it's a quiet park. It's a quiet neighborhood. They didn't necessarily want to see wholesale changes. They didn't want to see, things that would bring large amounts of groups, large amounts of people, a lot of noise type of thing. Obviously, like outdoor concerts were not something that they were real amiable to. They wanted it to stay more in its rustic nature. They wanted it to be more passive. They wanted it to be, you know, more along those lines. So as you can see, a lot of the trails that are at this park are already there. This park actually has trails. It's got a stone revetment along the entire southern part. The big question is on the Bolingbrook Creek side. There is quite a bit of erosion that's going on that side, and that's something that was touched on in the survey, also with the state and the county as far as trying to shore that up, because we are losing, I can't remember the number that they used on our tour, several feet, if not more, every year that is actually eroding away from that. So that's something that probably needs to be shored up. But a lot of the different things were, you know, a more permanent bathroom. I mean, I know portable restrooms are not the most glamorous thing. However, that is kind of the norm when it comes to parks. The thought was to maybe have a more permanent restroom. Along with that, obviously, with the pier not being there anymore or not being usable, one of the things that people wanted was some kind of fishing pier of some sort to be able to get out into the water. Obviously, we're not going to construct a pier nearly to the extent of that. It was more of like a fishing platform. So just different things like that. A playground in the front area, you know, not necessarily a very, very large playground, but at least some kind of playground in that front green space area. There's already picnic areas there. There's already, like I said, there's already trails. A lot of people, even though the pier is not there anymore, it's not that it's not there, that it's not usable anymore. There are still a lot of people that fish from the shore. There's a lot of families that are down there fishing. So, you know, the whole water access to that park is still very important as far as that goes. So this is just some of the ideas that that were thrown out there as far as part of the master plan. Obviously, a more permanent restroom. This is what you would see at more of your state parks, more of your national parks, as far as restrooms go. Natural playgrounds, again, you know, these are all just examples. You know, some people thought it would be better to have a natural playground, being more, you know, with your logs and something that was more tied to the rustic nature of the park, versus the traditional metal post and plastic playground. So playground was obviously an important part. Picnic areas are already there, widely used. Again, an ADA secondary fishing piers. This was very important, obviously, because the pier is no longer usable. There is a small wetlands within this property. The thought was to have some kind of boardwalk that wound through that. This is obviously not from this park. So educational signage and the wetland trails. Again, there actually is a pretty extensive trail system at this park. It's actually done quite well. They're wide. They're probably 6 feet wide with most of them. They're not just foot trails. The state has done a very good job of keeping those clear, keeping those open. I think they've tried to close down some of them just to, you know, so there weren't trails quite so much. But again, this is one just to keep those trails open, and then keep it as a natural surface. Kayak launch obviously was a big one as far as water access goes. So kayak launch could be done. A kayak trail, we've got water trails here in Talbot County, all over, a lot of them in the Bay Hundred area, Bellevue. The thought process is that there could be a kayak trail that would go from the park and go up Bolingbrook Creek. Probably not going to want to go across the Choptank, but you could go up Bolingbrook Creek. And then breakwaters, as far as we need to find some way to slow that hard water hit on the backside of the park. So the thought was, you know, install breakwaters, and then a living shoreline, obviously. I know a lot of people have brought up swimming. There is no swimming allowed there currently. It's not a great because of where it is situated on that Choptank River, it's not real safe as far as that goes. So traditionally, they have done no swimming. A lot of people still wade, a lot of people still do some areas and a little bit of the cove areas, but it's not quite covered enough, in my opinion. I probably wouldn't support as far as swimming in that, just because of the liability and the chance that something could possibly go wrong. Demonstration areas, this is one that DNR had actually was interested in, making some of that front area a little less manicured grass and leave it a little bit more rustic, a little bit more wild. Do a pollinator planting possibly, or something like this with a demonstration area. So like I said, I think the big thing with this park is that almost all of the surveyors wanted to keep it more passive. They wanted to keep it a quiet park. They didn't necessarily want a lot of the development there. I know at the beginning, you know, there were a couple people that wanted food trucks. Somebody wanted an amphitheater. Those are not things that, you know, probably are real conducive to that park. It does have limited parking. So, you know, if you add too many amenities to something that already has limited parking, you're gonna have to really take a good look at your parking as far as that goes. So, and that is the presentation as far as the master plan goes.
Okay, great. Discussion?
So, Preston, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to meet with the community up there. You held a meeting at the site and listened to the concerns from the community. And when we put a plan together like this, there's boards are set up with lots of ideas. There was a Ferris wheel that was on one of the ideas, and amusement parks and all kinds of things, just to get people to start brainstorming ideas. And of course, instantly the community assumed all of those were guaranteed in there, that, you know, coming from Cambridge, you got to ride the Ferris wheel as soon as you get to Talbot County. But you did an excellent job listening and reporting back to them, keeping them in the loop with when to vote, when to send emails in, and how to communicate with the state. And that's how we have this great park. And if you look at what they recommend closest to the houses, is a living shoreline. It's quiet. I mean, that's exactly what Mr. Pack and I said from the beginning. We like to have a passive park. The one question I did receive is why would the county want to get involved with this when it's the state's? And it's so that there's local control. As you've seen with the fishing pier, it's done. It's going away. When the county has parks, it provides additional access to the water. And when you're putting families, individuals, kids in our water, they're catching the fish, they're kayaking out, they're tasting it, they're touching it, they're gonna care more about it. That's when you learn to really love the water and respect the environment here. And we've heard consistently that there aren't enough access points to the water, even to the point when individuals demanded access over private property to get into the water here, and it was granted to them. This would be localized. It'd be managed by, you know, our sheriff's department would be the phone call for this. You wouldn't be calling a state ranger whose office was there, but their territory was serving the park in Dorchester County. So yeah, the Tubman Park. I mean, that's not ideal when an emergency comes up. So I know that it's going to be a challenge for our sheriff's department. It's going to extend people to the farthest tip out to that side of the county. But this is just an invaluable resource. I love seeing this council add as many parks as we've added and water access while keeping it passive and showing the community the benefits of Talbot County, walking through the woods, seeing the natural birds, seeing what's naturally here and appreciating it. That's how you get people to respect the area. And for the folks who live in towns who can't get to experience this, we hear all the time about, I want a dog park. Well, unfortunately, you know, nobody's willing to fund it, you know, but here's an opportunity to take your dog out and walk. You know, if you want to live on a big waterfront property, you can't always afford it. This is your chance to experience it, have a nice picnic, and then go back to your house. So I really want to thank Preston for doing a great job of listening and making sure the state kept this as a passive park and really respected the landscape here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lusher? Yep.
Just
Good.
Thank you for pulling this together.
Yep. Ms. Price?
Thank
Yep.
you for a great presentation
Yep.
and a lot of hard work,
Yep.
as always, with you.
Yep. Yep. Mr. Pack?
Yes. I also want to give my kudos to Secretary Jeannie Hathaway-Riccio and her department over at DNR. This was on the books some time ago to work with the county for master plan to build Burton Park before Preston took over our Parks Department. And for whatever reason, kind of laid flat, and we never acted upon it. And when Secretary Riccio approached us again about the idea of going in with a MOU on Bill Burton Park, we jumped at it. I think it was an opportunity to expand our park services into a region of the county that needed it. This park is basically unutilized except for those people who ride back there on a Friday night to do whatever they do on a Friday night. But as far as the general nature of this park, as Mr. DeVillio was speaking to, it's not used to its full capacity. And this would allow us to address some of those passive recreational needs in the county, give more water access. One of the things that came about during COVID when all the beaches were shut down statewide was people wanted to get into the water. You know, it was on the summer months and they weren't able to. So this will allow the county to at least have that one more water access point. And being under local control does give it, I think, a bit more attention than under state control. So, and you're absolutely right, that point area that we spoke about in the back room has to be addressed. The erosion there is quite significant, and I'm hoping that the next council does address that and get that shored up. Well, Preston, thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Preston, thank you. Appreciate everything.
Can I get one more minute?
Yeah.
No.
So I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Callahan, congratulate Mr. Lesher on being reelected. The county is lucky to have you guys back on the council again. At the same time, I want to thank Mr. Pack, Ms. Price, and Mr. DeVillio, two of which, Ms. Price, Mr. DeVillio, both served on the Parks and Rec board. You guys were always supportive. You were always open-minded. I said in the last park board, you know, Mr. DeVillio was quite often available for a phone call, sometimes a tirade-laced phone call just out of frustration. Ms. Price might have gotten a couple of those too. But it's one of those things that I think the parks, as far as Parks and Recreation goes, not only the three of you that are no longer going to be on it, but the two of you, there's been big moves within Parks and Rec in the last couple of years. You know, the gym is finally going to be in place. You know, we're getting an 8-court pickleball court put in. The turf has been redone. There's a lot of things that have wanted to be done for many years, even before I got here, that I don't think would have been able to have been accomplished without your leadership and your support. So with that, again, I want to congratulate you guys for getting back on, and I would like to thank the three of you for all your support as far as Parks and Rec goes in the years that I've been here.
Thank you, Preston.
Thanks a lot, Preston. I really appreciate it.
Preston,
Okay.
can you tell my family out there to come on in when you're out there? Thanks.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on this?
No?
On the master plan? No?
No. Okay, next on the agenda is a consideration of the ARPA money for Doverbrook Apartments redevelopment. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to Mr. Lesher and help us with that.
Thank you. As council has seen, we, with request from the Talbot County Housing Authority, the staff committee dedicated to recommendations on the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act funds, has reconvened to make a recommendation on this. This, of course, is the project on Dover Street that has approximately 50 housing units, built in 1971, getting toward the end of its useful life, or actually it's well past the end. The Housing Authority has made the determination that it is more feasible to replace it than to renovate it, and they have done what they needed to do in rounding up the largely federal funding to make this happen. However, what we have all experienced over the past year or so is the escalation of construction costs, both labor and construction materials, and now also the cost of borrowing funds is going up. And so the project, with the funding in place, now has a delta. And they have come to the town of Easton, and they have come to the county with requests for allocations to help fill that delta. The request was for a full $1 million. The staff committee on this is forwarding a recommendation that we fund this to $250,000, provided that Easton, the town of Easton, does the same. The town of Easton did meet last night. The town of Easton has allocated that $250,000, so that condition has been met. There was staff concern also that this project be vetted, that we look at the fine print. The town of Easton staff has been doing that, and the town is comfortable enough to be offering that funding. It is not contingent. Their funding is not contingent on ours, but the recommendation was that county funding be forwarded only if Easton were in this as well. And so that is the recommendation before us, is to allocate of the remaining $2.1 million in county ARPA funds, that $250,000 of that amount, roughly 1/8 of that amount, be allocated toward the Doverbrook project.
Okay.
Mr. Lesher, Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
I know we have Mr. Bibb here with us, and we do have a slide presentation in our packet. Did we want to hear from him and the public to see this, or?
I'm certainly open to that if council wishes to.
I think if
To get some questions
Mr. Bibb
answered.
and Ms. Walker
Okay.
stood a bit before
Yep.
we vote.
Yep.
I mean, this is a major project, and I-
Yep.
and I think,
It is,
you know, and
Okay.
Don, why don't you come on up?
Yep.
I support it,
Yeah.
and I think that, again, this property is well over, what, 40 years old?
Right.
51.
51, well over 40, 51. Thank you, thanks, Don. So,
Sure.
and getting people decent housing is important. If Don can-
And it is. I should add, one of those priorities for which ARPA funds are specifically appropriated.
Absolutely.
So this is an appropriate allocation of that funding.
So thank you guys for allowing Mr. Bibb to come forward.
Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. My name is Don Bibb. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Commission of Talbot. I wanted to first let you know that my co-presenter, who was supposed to be here tonight, had a family emergency. His young son had to be rushed to the emergency room, so his apologies for not being here.
Oh, sure.
Sure. And I also want to take the opportunity to again thank our President Callahan, Councilman Lesher, for your service and continued service moving forward. And for the other members of the council, thank you for your service. I know Mr. Pack, we know each other from way back when. We were all both a little younger then, I think. But anyway, thank you all for your service. And again, thank you for the consideration of assisting us with this much-needed project in the county and in the town of Easton. As you know, the Doverbrook project is one of the federal housing projects here in Talbot County. It consists of 50 units right now. Under the revitalization plan, we'll be tearing down those 50 and replacing back 64, so we'll be adding 14 new units to the project. As President Callahan and Councilman Lesher have alluded to, that project has really outlived its useful lifespan. We've maintained it the best we can, but at this point in time, moving forward, in order to meet the needs of the community and to, as someone once told me, take away the institutional appearance of housing on Dover Street, we can put back something that's more pleasing to the community and the fabric in the community. We have solicited, probably back in 2018, we partnered with Penrose Development, which is a national tax credit development company. I've done other deals with them on the Eastern Shore, down in Salisbury. We've done 2 projects with them under the RAD program. This particular project is going to be funded under the Streamlined Voluntary Conversion Program with HUD. We did receive in 2019 9% tax credit award, which if you all know anything about affordable development. Tax credits, especially 9%, are the golden ticket to making something work and make it continue to be affordable. You have to bear with me because I'm not used to doing this. We have the agenda today is the project team, the existing site conditions, which if you know anything about the Doverbrook project, it has stormwater issues and has for a very long time. And over time, as 50 has developed, it's added more to the dilemma on the backside of the property. The challenges to building workforce housing, and I want to back up. I don't like the term workforce or affordable. I'd like to use the term attainable because those other designations have much to interpret depending on where you're living. The challenge is putting together the finance, because the deal is you've got to try to make and maintain it as an attainable option for folks that are living in those communities. So as we pursue and garner all the support and the funding, it's critical to create those partnerships to building that type of housing. The budget, as Councilman Lesher alluded to, has grown a little bit out of control given the nature of COVID, construction costs, and obviously the other thing that we're dealing with is relocation efforts. We've got the aerial view of the Doverbrook project. I think everyone probably knows where it's located. It is a fairly decent site, and I think what we're going to be putting back is going to be extremely desirable to the community. We have site drainage issues, as you can see from these pictures. We continue to invest the capital fund monies we get from the federal government every year, which averages about $283,000, which not only covers the Doverbrook project, but also the other federal properties in St. Michael's. So with that money, we have to maintain capital product of 126 federal housing units. And in today's economy with the cost, it doesn't go very far. So with this project, total construction price around $23 million. The reinvestment back into the town and the county is substantial. And the fact that it's going to add 14 more additional units for individuals of lesser means to live in. Like I said,
If you just spin that one, can you spin that, Don? Just spin that.
Yes.
Just spin that wheel.
spin the wheel, okay.
There you go.
Here we have some existing conditions at the community. Obviously, the community building itself is part of the renovations, which maintains not only community space for the community, but as well as the offices for the Housing Commission. We have run out of space. The new building is going to add in additional space on the community building. We're going to be adding an additional onto the left side of the building, which is going to be used for community meetings. The interior of the existing building is going to be renovated to add in additional storage space and the offices for the Housing Commission. It's going to be a 1,000 square foot addition. Here is the architect's rendering of what the new community is going to look like. Now, if you know anything about the projects that we had done down in Salisbury, if you remember the old Booth Street Federal Housing Project, which sits right on Route 50, going into the business district of Salisbury, they were the old federal units that sat right next to the Armory. And there was a total of 100 units there. We ended up tearing down the first 50, and we built the Stone Grove Crossing project, which received awards nationally for its design and character back into the community. This new project is going to mirror substantially the architectural design that we used up in Salisbury. There is a Stone Grove Crossing there. That was back in 2017. We completed those 50 units within a 14-month period, and it was a reinvestment back into the community of, at that time, $19 million into a very blighted neighborhood section in Salisbury. As I said, the community building floor plan, adding the 1,000 square foot addition onto the left side of the building. And as you can see, the inside has various office space and maintenance shop. Increases the affordable housing stock in the county. As I said, the reinvestment back of that magnitude is substantial. And of course, the 9% tax credits. The unique thing about the Doverbrook project, we applied in 2018 for the credits. We didn't get awarded because of the qualified allocation plan that the state uses for awarding tax credits. We understand that there's going to be a continued increase at the state level of looking at much larger sized projects in the future because of the investment back into the community and adding substantially larger sized projects back into reinvestment. And they're talking at least 125 to 140 unit sized projects. This project, if we were losing 9% credits, could substantially be in jeopardy of ever getting funded again. As I said, the challenges we look at is the site constraints. We had to deal with a lot of reconfiguration on the site. Low-income housing tax credit requirements, which become a bit of a cumbersome process to go through, but you need them in order to make that project attainable for folks. Again, affordable housing. You got challenges putting the funding together to make this happen. Unit constraints. Under the program we're using, we have to replace one for one what we're taking down, and we wanted to be able to add back in, so reconfiguration was a little bit of a challenge initially, but the architect came up with it. HUD requirements, program requirements, we're going from public housing designation under this process to a project-based voucher program. So it's also a programmatic change, which is a benefit to the residents as well as the Housing Commission. Let me see. We do have all of our entitlements in place with the town to begin construction as soon as we are able to close. So it's a shovel-ready project at this point in time. It's interesting to note that everyone knows the affordable housing shortage here in Talbot County. I mean, I know I've been involved in that whole issue for the past 27 years, and it hasn't gotten any better. It continues to grow and be a continued problem. But anything that we can do to add to the stock of housing is important. The vacancy rate for the town of Easton as of the fourth quarter of 2021 was less than 1%. We have 36 families that we are in the process of trying to relocate in this process because we can't begin construction until they are relocated. The challenge has been finding suitable units for them to move to. Everyone who's an existing resident out there will receive what they call a tenant protected voucher, which they can take and go and seek a landlord that's willing to take the voucher and be housed for upwards of a 12-month period. We hired a relocation specialist who is working with the families on a one-on-one basis, but I know it's been a bit of a challenge since they came on board back in May. Construction costs, as Councilman Lesher alluded to, have just continued to escalate. We see slight fluctuations month to month, but for the most part, it's been a substantial increase to the point that we found ourselves in this shortfall. And of course, until we are able to go closing, we have that flapping in the wind interest rate rise, and it's raised substantially, probably in the past 6 months. Yeah, when we started the project in 2018, we were at 3.84%, and right now 6.75% as of October on the current interest rate. There is evidence of the budget evolution from back in early 2021 and where we are today. And you can see the equity that I talked about, the value associated with those 9% credits brings a tremendous amount of equity into these projects. And there's a summary of where we really fall right now with the $2.6 million gap. There's our schedule of the process that we've gone through to date. Obviously, construction start is probably going to be pushed back. We don't anticipate, keeping fingers crossed, that we're going to be able to relocate everybody and probably till the end of the first quarter of next year.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. Yep.
Mr. Bibb, just one quick question that, that I think arose in the staff discussion on this. The eligibility from the current Doverbrook residents with the shift to the voucher-based program, eligibility requirements will be more or less the same, or how
It's
does
going to be
they
the same.
shift?
I mean, HUD's programs are typically mirrored in their eligibility requirements. And because we are going from a public housing program platform to a voucher-based platform, there will be a requirement to be re-eligibilized, if you will, going from one program to the next.
Thank you.
Mr. DeVillio?
Yeah, just real quick.
I'm sorry.
Pack. And I'm looking at your timeline there, Don. Is there any thought of trying to rotate the current residents where you're doing half the residents
We
into?
looked at staging the project.
Yeah,
It was cost
staggering it.
prohibitive.
It's cost
It was
prohibitive.
cost prohibitive, yes.
So you're trying to get everybody out and then tear everything down at one
Correct.
time, but just trying to find housing for those individuals is going to be a challenge.
That's why we hired a specialist
Yeah.
who's
Okay.
familiar with this.
Thank you.
Well, I for one appreciate the work that you're doing, not only improving it, but expanding it and making a large improvement to the community center, which will be vital for individuals. We've gone out there before to talk about trying to do financial literacy classes and things like that, and they're very receptive to it. They just don't have much of the space to do anything. So I'm glad to see that. And you know, when the government recognizes something is 50 years old and ready to tear down and rebuild and works this quickly, I just wish you could tackle the Bay Bridge project right after this. You know? But no, I did speak with Mr. Lesher earlier. I appreciate that the group came back and recommended that you asked for $1 million. We came up with 250, and the town came up with 250. The town met quickly to do that, to provide the match. It sounds like there may be some additional funds available. I would ask that the next council stays focused on this and for you to follow back up with them and see as the project progresses, see if there's additional money as things get closer to budget time, what's left and available, because I don't believe they're using ARPA money. They're coming out of their affordable housing.
The town of Easton is
The town
their
is-
affordable housing fund, right?
Yeah, so it's nice seeing multiple buckets be available for this. So I'm happy to make a motion to support the recommendation of providing the $250,000 of ARPA funds for the Doverbrook apartments.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I had was, you have about a $2.6 million differential right now, and with Easton's money and assuming Talbot County's money, you're still left with a little more than $2 million. How do you expect to be able to close that gap?
We are trying to reach out to as many organizations as we can to get the deficit covered. Obviously, we'll have to go back to the state. This particular project is not unique to the projects that were awarded tax credits back in 2019. All of them are substantially deficit in getting to closure. So the state recommended that we come out to the local entities and ask for assistance, and then we'll probably have to go back to the new governor and see what type of additional funding that we can secure from CDA.
Okay.
We're determined to make this happen.
So do you go forward, or do you have to have every penny in place before
We
you?
do. In order to close with HUD and CDA, we have to have commitments for the entire amount.
So that could
Okay.
also delay your start as well.
It could, yes.
But you're already, have you already relocated some of the families, or you've just found places for them?
We are in the process of relocating some of the families here in Easton down to our St. Michael's communities, which we have vacancies that we have been sort of stockpiling, if you will, in the anticipation of trying to address the original 50 households that we had to relocate.
Okay. All right. Madam Secretary, we got a motion second to go ahead and,
Give them the money.
yep, give them the money. Yep. Yeah. Mine went more. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Thank you all so
Pre-
much.
appreciate
Really
it now.
appreciate it. I'll keep you updated as we
Yep.
progress on this.
That'd be great.
Thanks, Don. Good
Okay.
job.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Next up is Mr. Stant.
Good evening, Council. The first items I have are board and committee appointments. The first one is recommendation to appoint Mr. Chris Kleppinger to the Economic Development Commission. That is a recommendation being forwarded by the commission to you.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, got a motion and second to put Chris Kleppinger on the Economic Development.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pat?
All right.
The next item, we're requesting the appointment of Jim Corson to the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to put Jim Corson on the Planning Commission. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Abstain.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you,
Pat.
I don't get a vote.
Sorry.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. The first item we have this evening is a request from the library, Talbot County Free Library, to utilize FY23 contingency funding for the replacement of a door key card access control system and replacement of the digital camera surveillance system at the Talbot County Free Library Easton branch. This was a capital project that wasn't able to be completed in FY22 because of the delay in being able to obtain equipment. There are adequate funds to cover the contingent request, and the request is in the amount of $67,703.
Is the equipment available at this time, do you know?
It is.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to put the door key system in effect at the library. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pat?
All right.
And we'd like to invite Andy Hollis, Executive Director, Upper Shore Aging, and Chaldine Brooks from the Talbot County Senior Center to come up, if you don't mind. We have a request from the Upper Shore Aging and Talbot County Senior Center for additional funding for bus passes. Specifically, they're requesting council approval to allocate $2,450 to Upper Shore Aging Incorporated to purchase an additional 10 bus passes per month through the end of the fiscal year, and they are here to add any detail.
Make a motion to approve. Then you can spend all your time.
Come on, you can make him beg just a little bit. Come on.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for allowing us to come before you. As you know, I guess about 12 or 13 years ago, my predecessor came before the council and asked for money for bus passes because there was one person that was reported walking to dialysis, and you know that just couldn't happen. Now I'm up to about 35 people that are going to either chemo, dialysis. Some of them need transportation to go to work and things. We require that they ride the bus at least 3 times a week or 9 times a month in order for it to be cost effective to us. When the bus prices went up, a lot of people were put in turmoil because they just did not have that extra money to pay for the bus passes. And so I've been receiving calls on a regular basis asking for help with bus passes. I am a person that I can't turn people down. I'll figure out I can get the money somewhere somehow, even if I have to take it out of Andy's paycheck. But I'm serious.
There's no problem saying no to me.
But seriously, I mean, these people call me and they're desperate. They need to get to where they want to go. So we're just asking for your support for this additional funds so that I won't have to worry when somebody calls and says, I need a bus pass, I need to be able to get to dialysis, I need to be able to get to chemo, I need to be able to get to work. And that's it.
So I think we were hoping as COVID started on a downhill decline, though it certainly has not gone or over, that we would see the economic stability return, and that's not what's happening to those who are in the lowest economic earning in the county. The poor, which we don't talk about very much, the low income, the people that just don't have any other option other than to use this bus transit system for senior center, for shopping, for doctors, for dialysis. So I just want to commend you regardless of your vote because you have stepped up time and time again to help those people. In my world, seniors in particular, and you don't get much credit for it. It's not a real sexy ask, and I understand that, but you have never ever back down from your obligation to the seniors in this community. So I sincerely appreciate that, and you need to be aware of that.
And I echo that. I cannot thank you all enough for the support that you have given to me and the senior center, but most especially to the seniors in Talbot County, because they would not have a lot of the resources that they have if it was not for the support that you all have given us.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to echo the comments earlier, congratulating Mr. Lesher and Mr. Callahan on being reelected. And I guess congratulating the three of you that are coming off and starting a new venture. But I'm hoping that a couple of you know that you're still going to be asked to volunteer, to come out and help us out when we need help. So, but thank you so much for everything that you have done for us, especially since I've been at that center, and most especially since I've been the manager there.
I'm not going to say anything nice till after you vote.
Okay. All right. Okay. Madam Secretary,
So
is there?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to provide additional bus passes to the senior center.
Are we going to have time for discussion after the vote, or do we do it now?
It's up to you.
I don't know. If he's not going to say anything nice, I'm not either. No, before we do, both of you have been amazing, and I want to thank Andy in particular, that first term of office when you were sitting up here at that seat over there that I made you sit in because you had picked this one and I wanted this one. Anyway, but you've always advocated for seniors and the Meals on Wheels and all of those things. And I didn't understand a lot of that, and it was you who really brought that understanding and that advocacy always. And here you are in your new role, doing the very thing that you advocated for, 12 years ago. So I just want to thank you for that time together, and certainly as county manager as well, but especially when you were up here, almost
Well,
sitting next to me.
I appreciate that. Our whole motivation is we're scared of Charlene, so that's why we do things we do. Yeah, it's a very good call. You're a tough act there.
That's good. That's good.
And Charlene, you too. I mean, you've been here since the get-go. I knew you before I was on the council, and so thank you also as well for all that you do here and being steadfast.
Okay.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
Thank
So,
you also.
yeah, thank you. No, it's fine. Thank you, council. And just real quick, I had the honor and the privilege of being with you when you began, and I didn't expect it, but it's really an honor and a privilege to be here as it comes to an end as well. And you accomplish so much beyond what the public sees at your meetings twice a month and that they're not aware of, and you've really carried the water and fought the good fight, and you just deserve a world of credit. And I say that both as a professional and as a resident of Talbot County who's really proud of the five of you and the job you've done. So thank you very much for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Andy.
it, guys.
Ready to go?
Yep. Keep
Okay,
on.
great,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
The next item I have is requesting council letter of support from the Tilghman on the Chesapeake Homeowners Association's application for the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation Chesapeake-based Stewardship Fund Innovation Nutrient and Sediment Reduction Grant. I need to almost breathe in the middle of that. There needs to be an acronym. They're applying for this grant in the amount of $980,000. There's no county funds required, and we do have a couple of folks here to add any further detail. Thank you.
So this is, I'm Ann Roan. I'm the long-range planner for Department of Planning. This is for the implementation of a living shoreline that's being proposed on Tilghman Island, and it's being spearheaded by the Community Association. There's some serious erosion that's happening, and as we all know, and the county received a grant, I think in 2021 or 2020. I think it was before me, from DNR for the design, and they hired a consultant, and that design is ongoing, and there've been numerous public meetings, community outreach. The consultants are about 70% complete, with the design work. So when this opportunity came up through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, this would be for the construction. And it is a non-matching grant. However, the Community Association is going to be applying for DNR funding to provide a match so that we can have the complete, there's $1 million cap on the National Fish and Wildlife grant, and that won't be enough to complete the construction. So this is the beginning. The DNR grant is due in December, and they can be running concurrently. So we're crossing our fingers that we get both of them. It's a very enthusiastic community. We see this as a model project that can be replicated regionally, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, I appreciate it. Any?
No,
Yeah.
I think it's great. I'd be happy to make a motion and support that we send the letter to the NFW CBSF for the INSR grant.
Yeah. Do I have
XYZ.
do we have
I'll second.
a second? Okay, Madam Secretary, I got a motion and a second to do what Mr. DeVillio said. Okay?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pat?
All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guys.
Thank you, Mr.
Yep.
DeVillio.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yep.
getting it on the agenda.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. DeVillio, for
Yep.
condensing that. The next item that I have to bring to your attention is Easton Utilities is requesting a letter of support for an application to the Connect Maryland FY23 Network Infrastructure Grant Program to further extend broadband in the county. No county funds are required.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to help Easton Utilities.
Second.
Yep, we got a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, to support a grant fund letter for Easton Utilities.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pat?
All right.
And council, I have Mr. Matt Defoe here, if you'd like to come forward. Matt, from Choptank Electric Cooperative and Choptank Fiber LLC. They are requesting a letter of support for an application to Connect Maryland FY23 Network Infrastructure Grant Program. No county funds are required, and Matt's here to add any detail for you.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening. How you
Thanks for
doing?
having me. Yeah.
Good.
Similar to Easton Utilities' request,
Uh-huh.
we are looking at areas up in the Queen Anne's area of the county where we are currently already deploying fiber optics in Queen Anne's County and Caroline. So our mappings showed that we can hit a number of locations, unserved locations, there in a very short period of time. These grants normally have a 3-year period of where you need to have them completed. We've completed our grants that we currently are undertaking in 14 months in Queen Anne's, Caroline, and Somerset County.
Okay, great.
So we're ready to do a little bit more work, establish a small footprint in the county, and hit those locations in a very short period of time.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay.
So are these different areas than where Eastern Utilities is hitting? Because obviously the Maryland State Broadband is not going to overlap and put them
Yes.
on top of each other. So it's a different area?
The way the application and the grant process works, you submit your application to this Office of Statewide Broadband. Director Rick Gordon then releases those applications in KMZ files, and those internet providers can then challenge each other, saying, oh no, this area is going to be served, and then the state will make a determination based on the application.
Okay.
Okay.
I know that Easton Utilities and help me, what Atlantic Broadband is now called? Breezeline. Provide cable services that, for example, broadcast these meetings to the public, and they're similarly available over the internet. Is that a service that Choptank ultimately will be providing
No,
to
sir.
any of these
No, ours
addresses?
is just fiber optic straight to the home, where that individual can have then the Wi-Fi in their home to stream services like YouTube or Hulu, whatever it may be. We're not getting into the franchise business of cable like TV, internet.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
To the best of your knowledge, will this do anything to detrimental to the current Easton Utilities grant?
To my knowledge, no. And again, the state will go and make a determination if that would be the case.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll
Right.
make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Madam Secretary, we've got a motion second to help them with a grant.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
Okay,
Thank you, Matt.
good
Thank
job.
you so much.
Yep.
Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Council, next item I have is a request from the Department of Emergency Services. You have Brian LaCates here, your director. Brian, would you like to come up? And Geneva, you would like to come up with Brian? And Geneva Schaffel, who is your emergency management coordinator. Department of Emergency Services requesting council's approval to utilize emergency management performance grant funds to contract with the University of Maryland Center for Health and Homeland Security to rewrite the Talbot County Emergency Operations Plan and facilitate a plan exercise. The request is to piggyback on a Prince George's County contract in the amount of $100,178. No county funds are required, and Brian and Geneva are here to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I think Clay summed it up pretty well. We are requesting just permission to utilize existing grant funds that we're already allocated through the state of Maryland to rebuild our emergency operations plan. So this is an all hazards plan that addresses anything from man-made or natural disasters. It really just outlines how we're going to respond to it and how we're going to recover from it.
Right. And the last one was in 18, correct?
14 was
14,
the last
14.
complete rewrite.
Okay.
So it's kind of a living document,
Right.
and as things change in our community, we
Sure.
change things around, but the last complete rewrite was in 2014.
Okay.
And how often should it be done? Like our comprehensive plan and stuff is done every 10 years.
Yeah,
More
so-
often?
It should be done about every 5 years, I feel like, is a natural planning cycle. This was due to be rewritten the year that the pandemic hit.
Ooh,
The only thankful thing is we've learned so much from the pandemic that I think it will encompass a lot
Right.
more into our rewrite,
Sure.
so that is a benefit.
It would be changing again anyway, so.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blessing in disguise, right?
We learned a lot during the pandemic, so.
Yes, we did.
Mr. Stamp?
Yes, so I would just echo what both Geneva and Brian said. So, we've had a unique opportunity in the last couple of years, and learned a great deal. And that's going to inform us in the way we do business, not just in Talbot County, but this is occurring all over the country, frankly. But this is an opportunity to leverage grant funds that are in place to, for lack of better words, up our game and being able to respond to emergencies.
Okay.
I just want to commend the staff for identifying these grant funds for this purpose. I know that we looked at other possible sources that might have been a little closer to home, and commend you for the creativity that you exercised in identifying this source. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Second?
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead for, to help with grant funds to rewrite the emergency operation plan. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your
you.
consideration.
Okay, no problem.
While I'm here, I would like to just echo what
Yeah.
a lot of other folks have said. This council's been very supportive of emergency services over the years.
Yep.
Congratulations to Mr. Lesher,
Yeah.
Mr. Callahan
Yeah.
for their new positions on the
Yep.
council, and congratulations to the other folks that are,
Yep.
you guys that are leaving the council under your own fruition. So
Yep.
we really appreciate all the support over the years. Emergency services in a different place in this county because of the council
Yeah.
and what you guys learned about our needs, and were able to help us with those over the years. So it's truly is appreciated. So thank you.
Emergency
Pleasure.
services is in a different place because of you and Mr. Stamp and Geneva and your whole group. We just decided to listen. All we do is allocate the funds. You all do everything and do a spectacular job at it. So thank you very much. It's been an honor to work with you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you guys listening and responding, and generously funding us when we need it.
We know all about those 8-minute maps.
Yes, you've learned all about them. So.
All
Thank
right,
you again.
thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay.
Yes, Council, I only have one more item, and ask Ray Clark, your county engineer, to come forward. Request from the Department of Public Works to award bid number 22-11 for the replacement of the Rural Oak Pump Station, as you read in your agenda packet, requesting council approval to award bid 2211 to the lowest bidder Retallick and Sons in the amount of $1,536,000. A total of 5 bids were received. The award will be contingent on review and approval by the Maryland Department of the Environment. Ray Clark's here to add additional detail. Ray.
Just let y'all, council know, this is actually associated with the request we made about a month ago, requesting the council reject all the bids. Ultimately, we had one bidder that did not rebid this project. The other 4 did. And ultimately, the low bidder, which was Miles Retallick, is actually a local firm, and we've done work with them, and we're looking forward to working with them on this project.
Okay.
Did the amounts change, or did the
Yes,
scope
ma'am.
of work was a little bit different, but the amounts are different?
The amounts changed. Actually, the low bidder was probably about just over $100,000 less than the previous low bidder from last time.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion second to take the low bid for Miles Retallick. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
Okay, there you
And
go.
I'll
Ray.
echo everybody
Yep.
else. It was a
Yep.
pleasure working with all of you. Thank
Yep.
you very much.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Callahan and Mr. Lesher, as well as the other members that were
Yep.
elected. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Thank you.
Clark, it
Thank
just
you,
wouldn't
Ray.
be a council meeting unless we talked about some poop.
It seems like
I can assure you that is not the reason that any of us ran for public office.
I give you new reasons, right?
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Ray. So before I conclude the county manager's report, I would like to thank you. It's been an honor to serve the 5 of you as your county manager. Congratulations, Chuck, and congratulations, Pete, on your successful campaign. I look forward to working with you in the next 4 years. And to Corey and Laura and Frank, congratulations. Job well done. What I would say is that I think when you look back in time, the last 4 years has been a difficult time for our country, for our state, and our community. And the last 2 years has been very difficult. And the individuals that stepped forward and said that they wanted to serve their community were you. And you were the only game in town that was listening. And people came in and they had issues, and they were tough issues. But every time you met, you listened. You did your best, and you served your community, and I commend you for that. And the final thing I'd like to say is that you did a lot. I mean, I could go down a whole list of things that you did over the last 4 years, but I can tell you in the last 2 years, you've done some things that are pretty amazing. You know, one of the things that we're having a challenge with, not just here, but everywhere, is stability of the workforce. You know, we know in Talbot County we have a lot of senior leaders that were going to be retiring, so we had to stabilize and bring new talent in, and you helped do that. You helped put together a package to ensure that we retained good help and that we could recruit good help. You made decisions to allow us to move forward on leveraging new technologies, even to the degree of helping emergency services implement what am I thinking? Ultrasound. Ultrasound technology. We're one of the first in the state to implement ultrasound technology in the back of a paramedic unit to early diagnose critical illness or injury so that they can better triage patients. When you did that, implementing infrastructure projects, bought a new building for a health department, bought a new sheriff's office, expanded the EMS service to add a 6th crew to make sure we can maintain 8-minute response time for critical emergencies. I could go on. But you should be proud of the work that you did. And again, I thank you, and it's been my honor to serve you as your county manager. That completes the county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Stamp. That's well said, and I appreciate everything you guys have done, too. Well, it's an honor to spend 4 more years with you, too. You might not think the same, but for me it is. Okay. All right. So do we want to move?
Yeah.
Do we want to do? Okay.
So this is an opportunity for you to, yes, we can do that.
Did we do that? Okay.
We're doing public is there public comment first?
We're going to do this first. Oh, okay. So you want to have all the council come down? Yeah, all the council come down. Okay.
you've got, let's see, 2012, 14, 15, 16, 19, and 20 being president. All right, I really appreciate everything. And I do want to say that it's been a pleasure, really, on your wing sometimes. You know, we've battled it out a couple of times, but at the end of the day, I commend you with your experience, commend you with your friendship. We did agree to disagree a lot of times, but at the end of the day, we respected each other, and that's where it landed. And you taught me a lot, and you taught me what not to do too. So it was all good. So it was really a pleasure working with you. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Beautiful little dress. Okay. So Laura, like I was saying, Mr. Pack, it's a pleasure really working with you. You're a feisty little thing, that's for sure. Okay. And you've got a lot of smart and brilliant qualities about you. You really do. Okay. And I'm not just saying that. But it'd be nice sometimes if you were a little bit sort of.
It's gonna be a lot
Just a little bit, okay? But, you know, once again, we respect each other. At the end of the day, we're friends. We've known each other for 40 years. And you've done a great job for the last 12 years. And I've respected you, and, you know, you've done a lot for the county. And you should be proud, and you should be proud of the maker thing, being president of that team. So we're all proud of you. And what you've done for Talbot County is a lot. And I'm sure everybody sort of loves that. So, there you go. Okay. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Mr. DeVillio. Frank, I didn't know you that well, you know, when you come on the council, but we've become really great friends. And once again, for the last 4 years, you've done a lot of hard work, you've done a lot of tough work, and you know, you've done your own thing. And there's been many days that you've called me, and I called you, and we worked together. We've agreed to disagree, and I said, Frank, come on now, you know, come on now. But you know, you did your own thing, and that's what's respectful. And you had your own mind, and you had your own goals. And you know, I'm very, very proud of you, and I really appreciate your family being here, and everybody's family being here. And you should be proud of your dad, because he's done a great job for the county, and he's worked really hard. So I really appreciate everything you've done for the county, and you know, anything that we can do for you in the future, I'd appreciate it. So really, thanks for everything, Frank. And hold tight. I don't know if Mr. Lusher would like to say something. You know?
I'll give my comments at the end.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Public comment.
Public comment. Okay.
Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
nobody has signed up to speak this evening. However, I do believe there are members of the audience that would like to address the council this evening.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So how about if we start on this side, maybe the first row? Does anybody like to come up? Okay.
Ask her to talk.
Okay. There's mom out there. There's brother right there. The second row, I know you want to say something. No? Okay, I got, not on TV, right? Not on TV, okay. Lynn, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep, congratulations. Anybody else like to come up? Okay. on this side? Come on over there. Come on over there. I know she wants to come up here. Okay, yeah, okay. Anybody else over here? Okay, come on up. Come on up, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I just wanted to thank each of you. Congratulations, Pete. Congratulations, Chuck, on your election, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President.
Yes.
Well-deserved, well-run campaigns. But I just wanted to thank, and congratulations, Corey, Laura, and Frank, for getting the heck out of here in one piece. I just wanted to thank each of you personally and publicly to the extent that you guys have been so instrumental in the Talbot County Sheriff's Office and public safety in general in Talbot County. Several of you just for the last 4 years, but Corey, Laura, and Chuck for the last 8 years here on the council. And I'm just going to read really quickly off some of the things that you were able to help us accomplish.
Okay.
When I took over, less than 30% of the deputies lived in the county. Now over 60% live in the county, thanks to that grant stuff that we funded years ago and the commitment from council. Our deputies now have the most competitive retirement system of any sheriff's office in the state, and thanks to you and your leadership there. We're full, which is rare right now. There are departments that are down 20, 30, 40%. Even on the shore. And that speaks to your commitment to law enforcement officers here and all the things that you help make happen financially for them. We are competitive in our pay, which we were probably the worst. We had the worst retirement and one of the worst pays 8 years ago. We bought a new sheriff's office. Some of you enacted central booking, which has saved countless hours, man hours, woman hours, to put officers back on the streets and keep us away, separated from our arrestees as quickly as possible. You helped initiate the SRO program for the first time in Talbot County history, Canine program, teen court, been a huge supporter of Talbot Goes Purple, many other things. And the commitment that you've shown, we've disagreed a couple times, but the commitment you've shown to public safety, not just for the sheriff's office, but for law officers in general, as well as EMS, should be commended. And I thank each of you for that. And I have a small gift for you. And it's less than $25, so you don't have to report.
3 of us don't have to report it now anyway.
Challenge points for the sheriff's office. Thank you, Sheriff. So we're supposed to shake hands.
There we go. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Did we just show this when we sort of get pulled over? Huh? That's what's awesome, isn't it? Huh?
Maybe if we just wear it like this.
You do whatever you need to do.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Don't call me.
Okay.
It'll get to the central booking fast.
There you go.
Yeah. All the best to you that are moving on, and I'll see you in a few short months.
Okay.
We're here with the new council for a whole nother budget year.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Sheriff. Really appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else like to come up? Okay. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and start off with council comments. And how about we start off with Mr. DeVillio?
Thank you. You know, one of my favorite sayings when people say, you know, how things go and say, living the dream. Could be a nightmare, but it's a dream, you know, one way or the other. But it's been a challenging 4 years. There are certainly things that I wanted to accomplish that haven't come to fruition at all. I think of the Cordova cell phone tower is probably the one thing that sticks out in my mind is a major issue that I wish I could have tackled. But there were a lot of issues that came up in front of us that none of us had planned for. And I think we did a good job of listening, and we couldn't have done the jobs of listening without the boards that we have. Whether it's the Parks and Rec Board, the Library Board, all of them are volunteers which hash out a lot of conversations, a lot of disagreements, and a lot of opinions in the community. And, you know, sometimes people say, well, I like to see a board made up of people that don't get along, because then you know that they're debating everything. But truly, most of our boards work together and come up with something that works best for everybody, and then bring it to us. And then we have a whole nother round of challenging issues that we have to debate from that to make it work for everyone. And it doesn't. It never works for everyone. But county staff is invaluable in making sure that we have all the information available and know who to talk to. This community, in my opinion, has a lot of challenges with small groups who get very vocal and will sidetrack things. And I know for myself, I've been extremely frustrated with the time spent on issues that we've revisited, which caused us not to get things done, quite frankly. And it was because it was a group who had a very narrow focused issue that they wanted addressed. And that's not the entire community. You know, we still listen, we still fought through it. There probably was a lawsuit involved, and we had to listen to it just to settle out the lawsuit. And that doesn't do anyone any good, not even the individual who was trying to sue us to cause the issue. You know, I would have run again. I really enjoyed this community. I really enjoyed all the boards. I tried to make my rounds and thank everyone who stepped up to do it. But at the end of the day, sometimes it feels like you're putting a puzzle together with somebody who's pulling pieces out of it and throwing them aside, or throwing extra puzzle pieces in just to mess it up and delay things. And it's just it's a challenge. But working with this council, I take a lot of pride in us. I think that we worked well putting the puzzle together the best way that we could. And I like the diversity of this council. The different individuals, we have spent our time here long enough to truly know the issues, to know the people, and know the right people, the ones who are objective, and give you the right information, and aren't afraid to tell you their opinion in a way that they're working constructively towards the goal. And that's the most important thing. My biggest fear for anyone is to get up here and just start listening to the wrong person that is going to sidetrack them and cause them to not focus on the entire county. Mr. Pack said it best when he said, think outside the pincushion. You know, don't just stick with what's going on in a municipality, because everything is tied together. And that's the greatest part of the staff, is the reports that we get, the studies that we do, the impact fee study that's coming back in January. You get that information, you get that budget binder, you sit down and you figure out, all right, Parks and Rec's got a bus right now. They don't need it anymore. It's cost them a fortune to just sit in the parking lot and never use it. Brian LeCates took a bus from the school, turned it into an excellent air-conditioned bus with cots for when they're on a hot fire scene in the middle of August and guys need to cool down. You know, here's another opportunity to do that, to work together. Or how many times you've seen the golf course truck run across the street to grab a tractor, or vice versa to help Parks and Rec. The departments all work together, the staff works together, and I can't thank them enough for making our jobs as easy as it was, even through all the challenges that we had. And to the two who were reelected, congratulations. I know the next 4 years will certainly be easier than the last 4, and I won't be watching. I have faith in the system. I truly do. The community stepped up. They chose who they wanted to choose, and now it's my turn to sit back and let you guys run the show. And thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. DeVelio, and well done, and really appreciate serving with you.
Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Lesher.
Well, this meeting closes out my rookie term on this council, and I want to. It is Thanksgiving this week, and I want to offer my thanks to the staff for all the tremendous support and guidance that carried us through this. And I will say, for the public's sake, this staff is second to none. I have an enormous respect for the expertise and support that we get in conducting the business of the council. I want to thank Councilmember Corey Pack, who was our council president the first 2 years of this term. His institutional knowledge, his firm command of procedure, and his strong moral compass have served us well. And he leaves us with a distinguished record of service to this community, and I don't expect that service will be ending. Thank you, Corey. Thanks to Chuck Callahan, who has led us as president the past 2 years, and who always promotes civility, and who has a kind and welcoming word to everyone. What you have done to elevate the discourse here is important and valued, and I thank you for it.
Thank you.
And I look forward to continuing to serve with you in the next council. Thank you to Laura Price, whose attention to and command of budget detail is absolutely admirable. Laura has left a statewide legacy here as well, rising to president of the Maryland Association of Counties while serving as the voice of Talbot County in a statewide forum before the state legislature and to our colleagues all across the state. Thank you, Laura, for all of that. And finally, thank you to Councilmember Frank DeVillio for your compassion and your concern for the welfare of the citizens of Talbot County, from our youth to our aging populations. Your concern for the humanity of our fellow citizens is always evident in your work and in your words. You've always been open to discuss any matter, whether or not we fundamentally disagree. And that is how government is supposed to work. So thanks to all of you for the past 4 years. And finally, thank you to the voters of Talbot County for trusting me to serve going forward for another term, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Lesher. Appreciate it. Ms. Price.
Okay. I think that Mr. Roberts is going to put a little photo up that I took this morning. I've been thinking for some time about what to say tonight. How did this moment get here so quickly? How do I capture in less than 12 minutes all that has happened in 12 years? Don't worry, I promise I won't go on 12 minutes. I do. I could try to talk about all the important pieces of legislation and try to pick just a few. I looked on our website and there were over 300 bills and hundreds of resolutions over the last 12 years, and I realized I couldn't. They're all important in their own way, and they all have a tremendous impact on this county. I could try to thank everyone, and there are so many people to be grateful for. My family and friends who stood beside me, all the department heads and county staff, my fellow council members, past and present, over the years, both here and across the state. And most importantly, the citizens who allowed me to be here and represent them. I don't want to leave anyone out because you're all so very appreciated. Please know that. So rather than attempt to do it that way, I'm going to portray it a little differently. When I got up this morning and came out into the kitchen, I looked out the window and saw the same beautiful view of the river that I see almost every day. But this morning was different. There's always a reflection of the sky, the trees, and the different ways the sun paints a picture on the water. But this morning it struck me. Those reflections mirror how we see things that change over time. Our perspective is how we see the view. In the mornings, when the sky is just starting to brighten, it's a beginning and a chance to make the day have meaning and to reflect on what you'll do with that day and how to make a difference. That's what it was like when I first began on the council 12 years ago. Such excitement to see what I could make of the day. What could I do with the incredible opportunity that the people of Talbot County had given me? I had a belief that anything could happen and a vision to make the most of it. Then there are mornings when there's heavy fog, and it's hard to navigate because you can't see what's out there. But you know that the water and the trees and the sky are still there, and you just have to maintain focus to get through. Decisions are put before a group of 5 people who all have different opinions, but who all have the same purpose: to make choices that benefit the people who live here in this beautiful place. Yes, it can get foggy, and it can be really hard to see the view. And what you believe was the right thing can so easily get lost. That's when you must stop to listen, to reflect, and to remember why you're there. Only then can it get clear again, and eventually the fog burns off. Sometimes you look out onto the river, and there are storms. Rain and lightning make the view appear very different. You can still see it all, but it's not so pleasing to look at. That's when you can't give up, and you must fight to weather the storm. There have been some really challenging issues that this council and previous ones have had to get through. Controversial things that divided our community, and we had to be the ones to navigate the way through and find a way to bring people back together. Sometimes the group of 5 would be divided ourselves. Each one of us has stood up for what we thought was right. People weren't always happy with the decisions we made, but we did the best we could with the best of intentions. And the winds eventually calm as long as you keep the right perspective. Then there are days when the sun shines brightly and you can see clearly and truly appreciate the view. Appreciate it even more because you know you've been through the fog and the storms. Those are the times when the council can celebrate what a wonderful place we are a part of and how fortunate we are to serve. Times when we can give a proclamation for a wonderful cause, a certificate of appreciation to someone who has volunteered their time so generously, or to say thank you to one of our staff who works tirelessly to also serve this county. Those are the moments when we can stand up and applaud all of you. Then there are the sunsets, each one more beautiful than the next. You don't want to miss it, and you never want it to end. You keep watching until the sun has gone down over the horizon. It's hard to let go. This last meeting is like saying goodbye to a beautiful view whose reflection has transformed over the years. For me, there's emotion and sadness that this day is over. But upon reflection, a great sense of joy in how it looks now, knowing that I could be a part of shaping that view and helping keep the vision of all that characterizes what Talbot County is. I'm a little nervous that it's going to get dark overnight, that I might not be able to see what's next, except by the glow of the moon. But knowing that the sun will rise over the river tomorrow and a new day to reflect on will begin, not just for me, but for the next group of leaders who will serve you and continue painting the picture of what Talbot County looks like with a new perspective and their own reflections. It's truly been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Well said. Well said. Yep. Mr. Pack.
Yes, Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
I don't have anything as eloquently prepared as Mrs. Price or Mr. Lesher.
Yeah.
And you know me, sometimes the worst thing you can get is when I go off the cuff.
There you go. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
You wanted to give me this list? I was talking to Laura yesterday. She said, "Are you going to prepare anything?" I said, "No, I don't think I'm going to write anything down."
I see notes.
Yeah, I always write a bunch of notes. You know me. So sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. But let me first of all saying that, you know, wow, 15 years, where did it go so fast, right?
Yeah.
And you know the old saying, they say that time flies when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, maybe this in some sense has been fun, you know. And when I look back, you know, first started in 2007, I've been up here since 4 U.S. presidents, you know. Three governors and 1 governor-elect. I met each of the first African-American lieutenant governor, the second African-American lieutenant governor, and the third African-American lieutenant governor. Been here through 3 plus 1 county managers. Mr. Hollis gets two knots. When I first came on board, you talk about capital projects. You know, we had the library, the Easton Elementary School, repaving the Black Dog Alley, the YMCA Multi-Generational Center. Sheriff mentioned the expansion of the 911 center, the central booking complex. I think Talbot County was the first county that did countywide laptops. I think we were the first one to fund the countywide laptops. Was here when the Easton Airport, the tower first opened. Was there with Mike Henry when we cut that ribbon for that. When I first started, our teachers' pay was the lowest in the state of Maryland. And I remember telling Dr. Sad when I said, you know, we're going to do something about this. And we were able to get our teachers out of that bottom and move our teachers up. We were able to finally move our sheriff's deputies into the LEOP system. Finally able to do that. We had talked about it for years and years and years. We started the first SRO when I was here. We started it and stopped it and started it up again. And now I think we have SROs in both of our high schools and also several of our middle school and elementary schools as well. We started the ball rolling to move our officers of our detention center from the state system into the DOC system for them to have a better retirement system. And we finally got the community center on sewer. Finally, where's Ray? Is he still here? Finally got the community center on sewer. During my tenure, we instituted the first liquor inspector, a position that never existed. We finally got the short-term rental board as a board. It was always on paper, but those seats were never filled. Was proud that we hired the first African-American department head, the first Hispanic department head. We set on the first diversity statement. Put an elevator in the courthouse, you know, to the second floor. Yeah, that was on the books for a long time. We got it done. Was able to meet all 3 of our U.S. senators, Mikulski, Van Hollen, and Cardin, and have conversations with them over the years. And welcomed in our first ever female district court judge here in Talbot County's history. And it's been, wow, you know, quite an ordeal over the years. And we've also started the ball moving on some other projects. You know, we talked about the Bill Burton Park, the Douglas Park, the Public Safety Building, the Health Department building, the Community Center expansion, the St. Michael's Library renovation, the Cordova Emergency Services Station, and the possible, future sewer line running to Bosman and Nevitt. And these are just a few. I mean, as Ms. Price said, I could probably sit down and jot down probably another page and a half more of accomplishments over the years. So, you know, it's been a pleasure to serve the citizens of Talbot County. It really has been, you know. Started in 2007 and the way things went back then with lawsuits and this and that, you know, it wasn't a pretty start. It wasn't a pretty start. But sometimes they say, Mr. Lesher, it's not how you start, but how you finish. You know, it's how you finish the fight, how you finish the race. I had a call from my former campaign manager, Mr. Miles Butts. I was sitting home watching ball game, my phone rang, and you remember Miles, Lord. And he called me and said, Mr. Pack, how you doing? Just wanted to call you and say hello. And just had a 2 or 3 minute phone conversation with Miles. And I said, well, Miles, it's coming to an end. And he said, wow, how long has it been? And I said, you know, it's been a while. And so it's just good to hear from an old friend, you know, calling just to say hello. Again, it's been a pleasure serving the citizens of Talbot County. You know, when you're up here, you know, sometimes you don't always agree. You know, you don't. And it's just the passion behind a particular bill or a resolution that you feel very passionately about, that you want to see get done. And not so much for yourself, but for the people that may benefit from that piece of legislation. And you try the best to get it across the finish line. Sometimes you fall short, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, you know, can you still respect the guy across the table? And I have to say, I do. You know, Laura, it's probably no council person I respect more than you. And I mean that. You know, I've gone home some nights pulling my hair out saying, Laura, Laura, Laura. That's why I have none now. You know, but I know that, you know, what you bring to the table is commitment. What you bring to the table is sincerity in getting something done. You do your homework, you do your research, and I gotta respect that. And it doesn't mean I always have to agree with you, but I gotta respect the time and effort you put into getting it done, and you have. You served the citizens well over these last 12 years, and you need to be proud of your job. You need to be proud of the work you've done at Mako. You know, you really do, and my hat goes off to you. You know, Frank, we only worked for 4 years together, but man, you pushed a lot of good stuff across the finish line. You know, we would not have gotten the Confederate statue moved off the courthouse lawn had not been for you. Had not been for you. And I can say that the time and energy you put into the research and finding a location for it and talking to the people down in Virginia, and you know, you are a dot your I, cross your T kind of man, you know. And again, your commitment to getting it done, you know, picking up the phone, calling people, finding out the facts or the details before you cast your vote. I don't think you cast any vote over the last 4 years without knowing the details behind what that decision is going to mean for one group and not for another. And that's what citizens of Talbot County should be proud about, is that putting you in this office is that you've done your due diligence to find out the pluses and the minuses behind every decision that you made. And it doesn't mean that you're going to make everybody happy. You're not. If you do, you're doing something wrong. So clearly, you've been doing things right. So, man, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I wish you well as you move forward. Pete, you know, hey, you're the right guy for this position. You know, you are. You know, you take your time. You walk yourself through each decision. You bring a wealth of that institutional experience yourself in from your time down in Easton. And I think serving this next young council coming on board, you know, they're going to need your steady hand. They're going to need your steady hand. And, you know, you've been a right hand to this guy here for the last 2 years. And I know he appreciates you being there for him. And so do I. And Chuck, you know, we've had some good times, you know, and I've gone home saying that's Chuck Callahan. But you know, man, you're here every day. You know, I know you probably drove Andy crazy some days and probably working on Clay. But it's all done with the most sincerity of heart, is to make sure you get the job done. And so, man, it's been a pleasure working with you these last 8 years? 8 years? Yeah, 8 years with you as well. Yeah. So, and to the staff, Jess and Susan and Karen Roberts, you know, you guys have always had my back. You know, last minute phone calls, I need this printed off, I need this done, can you call this person for me? Phone numbers that I've forgotten, you know, lost my phone, you know, can you order me a new phone? So, you know, you guys have been great working with, and I really will miss you as we move forward. I may pop in from time to time, who knows, you know, but been a pleasure. So Patrick, Clay, I know you guys are going to keep things moving in the right direction. I have no doubt about that, you know. Clay, your leadership is going to be important, you know, as again, this new council comes on board, and looking forward here in the county. So, you know, hey, say Brian's been great, right? You know, what can I say? It's been a pleasure serving. You'll probably see me around from time to time. Who knows But you guys have been great. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Pack. Thank you, council. Well, you guys got to put up with me for 4 more years, so I'm not going to sit here for 15 minutes. So you'll see me for 4 more years. I do want to, this experience in the last 8 years for me has been, it's been phenomenal. I've learned a lot. Mr. Pack, just like I said, and I'll repeat myself down there, just sit there, learn from you, be beside you, be the vice president, you know. It's a big deal when you're vice president of the president, you know, that is. And I appreciate it. You learned a lot, and you helped me through a lot of stuff, and I do appreciate it. And I appreciate you serving the community, too. I really do. Ms. Price, same thing down here, you know. Your heart's in it. You're all in. And it's been great sitting up here with you, you know. Just your passion on things, and like everybody said, you know, we're not going to disagree or agree on everything. That's for sure. But your heart's in the right place. My heart's in the right place. All our hearts have been in the right place. So, congratulations on you know, Mako. You've done a great job all year long. You've been hustling, and you've been working really hard to get there, to get here. You know, you've got a lot of things going on, and you've got a lot of bright things in the future for you, that's for sure. So, Mr. Lesher, it's going to be an honor again to serve with you, that's for sure. And congratulations. Yep, congratulations. It's going to be fun working with you again, and our new council here. And Lynn, like I said, congratulations. You know, so appreciate it, and you did hard work on the campaign. You did a good job. So, and Pete, you know, it's nice to be in this position up here, and knowing that, you know, I can count on you, and you help me with the prayer, and you've helped me a lot do speeches, because you're really, really good at that stuff. You're really good at helping some of the weaknesses I have. And it's really nice to know that I have a good person that can back me up. And through the last couple of years and stuff, I can't thank you enough for helping me on some of my things that I've had trouble with. And I do appreciate that, that's for sure. And it's going to be an honor to work with you again for the next 4 years. Yep, yep. And the man down at the end there, you know. Well, we've had some good times, that's for sure. Yeah, you know, we had a lot of fun. You taught me a lot. I taught you a lot, you know. And you know, we had some good times. And you know, like you said, like Mr. Pack said, you're all in. You did your homework. You're passionate, and you stuck with your guns. You did. So, and I respect that. That's for sure. So, you know, now you can spend some time on that hockey with the boys, and better yet, spend some time with your Abby. That's for sure. You know, so thank you, Abby, for all you've done too. You know, I know it doesn't seem like you've done, but you've done a lot. Trust me. So, it's like we've all talked up here, it's staff, you know, all the department heads, Brent and Joe and Scott and Brandon, all you guys really make us look good. You really, really do. I know sometimes you probably hold your breath and like, are they going to do it or not do it? And, you know, Brent, I'm always bothering you, you know what I mean? So, and I really do appreciate it. I mean, we all have a passion for serving this county, and you know, I really appreciate all the support I've had over the election to vote me back in, and I'm gonna work hard for you, and I'm gonna be passionate about doing the right thing for everybody, because that's what me and Mr. Lesher are here for. We're here to serve you guys. That's what we're here for, and you put us in this position, and I appreciate it. Clay and Jess and Susan and Patrick, Diane, you know, you guys, all you guys have been here day in, day out for us. And I really appreciate the hard work you've done, because we've been in here from 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. And that's tough on all of us, you know. And, you know, Joe, your guys are the best in here, protecting us. You know, people forget we have people protecting us too. And we really appreciate the protection, you know. And it means a lot to us to feel safe in here. It's kind of a shame that it's that way now, but that's just the way of the world right now. So I appreciate everything. I'm looking forward to working with staff again, and I'm looking forward for the next 4 years. And thanks everybody for all you guys do too. So being that said, Mr. Lesher, you want to go ahead and...
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 13th, beginning at 6 o'clock p.m. The council will be convening an open session at 4:30 p.m. and adjourning into closed session to discuss real estate, legal, and personnel matters as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the
I
vote?
don't think there was a second yet.
Was it?
I don't
Oh,
think so.
okay.
Do
I
we
thought
have
I...
to? Okay,
You don't
second.
have to. Sure, absolutely. Absolutely, you can. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. We got a motion second?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
There you go, buddy.
Mr.